Hello, this is Jeff Gaudiosi, and you're on MisplacedStraws.com, where music comes to life. And my guest today could easily stake a claim as one of the hardest working men in showbiz. You probably know him best as the chainsaw wielding frontman of Jackal, but he's also a TV star, an entrepreneur, and he's just released a new single from an upcoming solo record that he wrote with none other than Brian Johnson of AC/DC. The song is called Never Gets Old. The record, which comes out November 10th, is called Breathing Fire. Please welcome Jesse James Dupree. Welcome, Jesse.
Hi, good to see you.
And you
Good to
too.
see
And, there's so much to talk to you about, but let's start with the single Never Gets Old. You wrote it with Brian Johnson. You guys go back
Yes.
to pretty early in Jackal's history. Brian doesn't do a lot outside of AC/DC. So how did you guys meet and start writing?
Yeah, it doesn't get past me that nobody in ACDC ever works outside their band. So to be able to work with Brian and I'll tell you what you don't think about that ends up being the most impactful is to be part of a process and watch Brian get excited.
Mhm.
So when you see Brian getting excited, there's the guy that sang Back in Black and Shook Me All Night Long and Hell's Bells and Have a Drink on Me and when you see him revert back to a teenager and just his enthusiasm for music, that's pretty special. It's pretty cool.
Mm. And how did you guys first meet? I mean, was it on tour?
His wife was hosting a fundraiser for down in Sarasota, Florida. Ringling Brothers and Barnum and Bailey Circus used to have headquarters down in Sarasota. So a lot of the buildings are old Ringling Brothers buildings, and they kind of reflect the architecture. Looks like it. And there's a beautiful old theater, a Ringling Brothers theater, and she was working to refurbish it. And she had a benefit, and there was all these legendary people there. Duck Dunn from the Booker T and the MGs and the Blues Brothers movies, and Tina Turner's band leaders, and Cliff and Brian from AC/DC. I'm just a lot of cool people, and we met through that event, and we just made fast friends.
Mhm. And so Never Gets Old. I mean, it's really a tribute to rock and roll in all of its glory. Talk a
Yeah,
little bit about the video, because I know you have a contest that goes along with the video. It's pretty cool.
yeah. The video, you can hit a QR code, go to YouTube, and put in Jesse James Dupree. The song is called Never Gets Old, and you click on the QR code, and you can automatically register to win a trip to Daytona Beach, Florida. And then if you can name all 35 bands that I pay tribute to in the font, the lyrics, the fonts, the lyrics that we use, if you can name all 35 bands, if I pick you as the winner and you've named all 35 bands correctly, you get a $1,000 bonus check.
And it's a cool video, and when you're watching it, just kind of the memories that those fonts bring back, like you
Yeah.
immediately start hearing those bands. It's really cool.
Yeah, dude. I mean, and so far, people have been enjoying it, and I've got tons of texts and emails and people saying, "Is this the right list? Is this the right?" And I'm not telling anybody, not because nobody can keep a secret.
And so Breathing Fire, the record comes out in November. You recorded it with your son Nigel, your Jackal bandmate Roman Glick. What
Yeah.
makes a Jesse James Dupree record different from a Jackal record?
It's just this was not a planned record, so I mean, it's obviously different. I mean, if Chris and Jeff were playing on it, it would be probably still be a great record, and it just would sound different. And there's nothing wrong with that. This wasn't planned to not be a Jackal record. This just happened. My son happened to walk into the house, and I had these ideas after listening to some old AC/DC records, and I called Roman over, and we jammed, and next thing you know, I ended up with some of these songs, and then Brian Johnson happened to call me. I hadn't spoke to Brian in 6 months, and he called me like within a couple of days after we recorded it. It all happened very organically,
Mhm.
and that's the best kind of music.
Exactly. And looking back through your career a bit, that first Jackal record came out in 92. And
Yeah.
that's just at the cusp of, Nirvana and the whole Seattle thing. But you guys still had some monster hits off of that record, anchored by Lumberjack. How did you first get the idea for the chainsaw solo? I mean, was that something you had been doing kind of in clubs up to that, or?
Well, I threatened. There was a club in Atlanta called Magruder's, Charlie Magruder's, and we held the sales and attendance record. And I'd always threaten the guy that owned the place that I was going to bring a chainsaw in because it had a lot of wood,
Mhm.
like an Irish pub would have, with this rock. It was a rock club, a rock and roll Irish pub, if you can imagine. But I used to threaten to come in and cut the place up. And I knew one night we were going to be setting yet another sales and attendance record for that venue. So I went and rented a chainsaw and I cut a bunch of stuff up, and he got mad and fined us a couple $100. And then one thing led to another, and we were jamming at the end of the night, and I picked up the chainsaw and played a lead break. And then I carried it back to the rental place and forgot about it. My dad was there, and he goes, "You got to keep doing that." And so a couple of weeks later, he shows up in a car. He always rode a Harley Davidson, and he shows up in a car in South Carolina, opened up the trunk of the car, and handed me a chainsaw and said, "Keep doing it." And the rest is history.
And I have to say, for anyone that's watched other interviews I've done, I usually have a bunch of guitars behind me and I try to match them up to whoever it is I'm talking to. So for you, I actually went out and got my chainsaw
Oh, I
to
see
put up
that now.
there.
Yeah. How well it blends in. It's what a definitive instrument for rock and roll. It's loud, it's aggressive,
Exactly.
it's stinky, it's destructive, everything rock and roll should be.
Yep, so it takes its place along the guitars here.
Yeah.
But by the time Push Came to Shove came out, that sort of change in the scene was really big at that point. Did it start to feel like an uphill battle for you guys through the 90s, putting out these great rock and roll records when the scene was completely changing and moving towards alternative and grunge and things like that?
I mean, we were definitely aware that, that was going on. I mean, we never were the flavor of the day. I mean, but if you look at it, I mean, well, yeah, I mean, I can't even, I don't even want to say this because it sounds like I'm comparing, but I mean, that was, there's been so many bands in history that never had, number one songs, but yet they, Led Zeppelin or whatever, I mean, you look at bands like that. I mean, again, we're no Led Zeppelin, but I'm saying we've never let that define us if it's whether or not we were the flavor of the day or a critic's choice. That's a double-edged sword. That sometimes that can be the worst thing that could ever happen to you.
Mhm. Yeah, I mean, you guys had the fan base that stuck with you through that and,
Yeah.
kept coming to see you in the clubs, and it keeps a band going.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, it's one of those things that you don't take for granted. I mean, we have so many people that, there's a Ken and Diane, a couple that comes. I mean, I just know them because they've probably seen 250 Jackal shows. And, but there's more than there's a whole bunch of individuals that we have, gotten to be friends with and that we know that, I mean, seen numerous Jackal shows. They come out and we just have a blast. I mean, no two shows are the same.
Mhm. And I mentioned earlier that you're involved in so much more than just music. Many know you from Full Throttle Saloon. The original burned down a few years back, but was rebuilt. Are you still involved with that at all?
Yeah, we moved down the road. We moved from 32 acres to 600 acres. We have the Full Throttle Saloon in the Pappy Hoyle Campground, Pappyhoel Campground, Pappy Hoyle Campground.com. If you want to check it out, it's again 600 acres, 1,000 RV hookups, 300 cabins, tent camping for days. Harley Davidson's got a big building out there. Eagle Rider, Top Coat, Amsoil, all those national sponsors. We have an all-you-can-eat breakfast buffet, dinner buffet, a convenience store, 3 racetracks, a firing range. You can shoot 50 caliber guns and Uzi machine guns. We bring in cars and vans for you to blow up. We have a runway on the back that airplanes take up people parachuting. I mean, it's down Disney World in the Black Hills of South Dakota for adults.
We got to get that back on TV with all
Yeah,
that going on.
yeah.
And aside from all of that too, you also have your own alcohol brand, Jesse James American Outlaw Bourbon. How did you get
That's
started
right.
in distilling?
Well, I'd worked with some other companies consulting them on their brands, from Zippo lighters to
Mhm.
Budweiser, and Sidney Franks' company that brought Grey Goose and Jägermeister to America. And so just the obvious step was, to go ahead and just build my own brands. And one thing led to another, and found a guy that was sitting on $5 million worth of great bourbon, and we partnered up and started putting it out.
Nice. And now, with all of that and the music, I mean, I know you were involved at some point too on the back end of the music stuff when it comes to label things and stuff like that. Are you doing any of that stuff?
As far as doing what now? As far as
You know,
working on
you and I believe you had your own label at one point.
yeah. Mighty Loud, through Universal In Grooves, yeah. And in the past, I used to put out a Power Man 5000, couple of records with them, and everything from Power Man to Tanya Tucker to Eve to Adam, and of course the Jackal records and stuff. But the entertainment business is so different from what it was even 10 years ago. It's really different now. And the streaming and stuff is a whole different ball game. You used to go to the mailbox and pull out a hefty check for records, for being an artist. And and now the streams and such just pay such, you hear artists complain all the time. But I feel sorry for the new bands that are trying to make a living in music, because it's not like it used to be.
Yeah. And now, back to the music. Once Breathing Fire is out, will you be doing any kind of solo tour? Are you looking to put Jackal on the road to do a full tour? Or are you just going to kind of continue doing the festivals and things like that?
Well, Jackal's got a bunch of tour dates that we're doing between now and the end of the year. We're playing. I leave out tomorrow for South Dakota. So we're constantly playing. Jackal's still stronger than ever. It's a lethal band. I love those guys. They're my brothers. But I am going to be doing some solo dates because I want to play I want to play these songs with my son. Roman and I both are excited about playing songs with my son.
Great. So we'll be seeing some solo Jesse James Dupree dates coming up in the next year or so.
Hopefully soon. Yeah.
Definitely be looking for that. And so what's next with you? Once this record comes out in November, like I said, Jackal will be on the road. Do you see another Jackal record coming out, or is it just going to be kind of whenever it moves you?
Yeah, just whenever it happens. I've got a lot of stuff that I do with the Harley Davidson Motor Company, or that I've been doing. I mean, I'll find out this in a couple of days if we're going to do it again this coming year. But we've been building out the Rolling USA campaigns, and they've been going really great. And it's something that it's like no other experience when you give somebody a chance to win a motorcycle and a Harley Davidson, and they're bring 10 people out on the stage with you, and they each get to put a key in the switch and see which one cranks it, and whoever cranks it wins it. And I've given away my 20th motorcycle this past Saturday.
That's cool.
It's really cool.
And just one other thing I want to talk about, because I've talked about this with a couple of artists, and they always say just how special it is. You get to play music with your son. How cool is that as a dad to be on stage or even writing in the studio with your kid behind you, putting it together?
It's great. It's rewarding as it can be challenging. I mean, you can be in a band and argue with your bandmates about a guitar part or a drum part, and that's one thing. But when you're having that discussion with your son and he throws the sticks down and goes, "Dad," it's a different thing. It's pretty funny, but yeah, it's one of those things that I don't take for granted because I mean he's such a talent and he's an old soul, and so is Roman. So it's so much fun playing with both of them.
And when you guys take the stage, I mean, as we were talking before we did this, I've seen Jackal from way back in the day, throughout the years. You guys, you go out, you give it 100%, you play completely live, and you just
Yeah.
kick ass with it.
Thank you.
We're in a time now when, the bands like you guys that actually go out and play live are the rarity. What's your thought when you're on a festival and you guys are going out there playing every note as it should be, and you're with bands that may be tracking certain parts of it?
I mean, I don't get it. I know there's a big debate about all that stuff, and I just don't care. I, we do our thing, and people can decide what's good or not. They don't need me to. People don't need to hear me talk about politics or to grade another band, or and it is what it is. I mean, I just want to do my thing and leave me alone.
Well, we've been spending some time here with Jesse James Dupree. His single "Never Gets Old" is out now with a great video. Definitely check it out. You could win some cool prizes from it. The record "Breathing Fire" is out November 10th. Looking forward to it. Look forward to catching you on the road again soon. Jesse, thank you so much for taking the time to do this.
Well, be careful with that literal axe you got behind you there, and don't lose any digits.
Exactly.
And, I appreciate keep waving this rock and roll flag and doing what you do. That's what makes this stuff stay alive. So thank you.
Thank you. We'll talk again soon.
You got it. You bet. Thanks.